Hey man, this is Chris of PhoneCats. In this vid we're covering the White Cat deck. It's Ajani's Celestial Light. It's fun to play. I mean, I know you're not supposed to try to get your life as high as possible, but sometimes it's just irresistible. Whenever you're ready to pick up a new phone, check out PhoneCats.com. There's some deals like 182. That's crazy for an iPhone 4. That was on Verizon, but you can get them on anything. Okay, here we go. Sarah Ascendant. One of the backbones of the deck. 1 mana for a 1/1 with lifelink. As soon as you hit 30 life, it gets +5/+5, and it gets flying. It happens. One of the last cards I'm going to get to, no, I think it's in the middle, is Celestial Might. And yeah, there's so much life in this deck, it's just gross. Soul Warden, another thing that people will be pissed off if you play on turn 1. 1 mana for a 1/1, and you gain 1 life every time a creature enters the battlefield. If you're playing the Soldier deck or the Goblin deck, it's going to make them feel kind of funky whenever they play like that 2 mana that puts 2 1/1s into play. It's nice. STP, Swords to Plowshare with that old school art. It's an instant and you remove target creature from the game, and whoever owns the creature gains life equal to the power? God, that card's so old. There's another card called Chastise that is the same kind of style of creature control, but it's a little bit more situational and you always gain the life, but we'll get to that. Ajani's Mantra, during your upkeep gain 1 life. I took this out for now, but I don't know, you might want to try it. Against some of these early rush decks, just that 1 life a turn might be enough to stave things off in a close call. Right now I'm throwing in this Ballist Collar, even though sometimes I play this deck like a white rush deck. But it's 1 mana for an artifact, 2 to equip. It gives the creature Death Touch and Lifelink. So sometimes you might end up doing a chump block, and if your creature has Death Touch, that can be cool. Or just throwing something on Lifelink that doesn't have it, and then just adding to your life engine. I'm kind of wishy-washy on it though. Ajani's Pride Mate, here we go. The turn 2 card to play. Well, yeah, normally. 2 mana for a 2/2. Whenever you gain life, put a +1/+1 on it. Man, I hate playing against this deck when they have one of these out. If you're not paying attention and don't kill it right, they'll do something in response and pump it up. It's so gross. Knights of the Meadowgrain, another ridiculous turn 2 card. 2 white, 2/2, first strike, lifelink. First strike is such a battle changer in the first couple turns and the metagame or whatever it is. There's so many rush decks, and having first strike is such an advantage. Baneslayer Angel, getting some biggies here. 5 mana for a 5/5, flying, first strike, lifelink, protection from demons and dragons. I haven't even had a demon or dragon encounter where that's been situational, but 5 mana for a 5/5 with flying, first strike is kind of meh in my opinion, but lifelink's legit. I wish I had vigilance, but that's not really the style of this deck. Got a medallion in this deck, of course. You can opt to play with these. There's a lot of turn 2 creatures that you can play, a lot of turn 3 creatures that you can play. I don't know. You'll notice that even some of the smaller creatures are having colorless in the casting cost, so it's your call with this one. Kemba Skyguard, 3 mana for a 2/2 flyer. When it comes into play, gain 2 life. Almost every deck has a 3 mana 2/2 flyer that does something that's really obvious to the deck, having haste or making them discard cards or whatever. The white one's okay. Recumbent Bliss, it's a 3 mana pacifism basically, except it's during your upkeep you gain 1 life. See, there was one card that was like that. Ajani's Mantra, was it? And that's that Recumbent Bliss is like a pacifism in that card put together, so take that into account. Solemn Offering, it's your artifact control. It's like a disenchant put together with a little life gain for an extra colorless. 3 mana, destroy target artifact or enchantment, and you gain 4 life. I'm playing with 2 of those right now. I used to be playing with just more creatures, but I don't know. I'm testing out that control aspect of it. Chastise, this is kind of like that new school Swords to Plowshare where you gain the life. I've been playing against this deck and playing as Garruk and attacked with a 28/28 Trampler before and had it chastised and just didn't... I didn't quit, but I mean, it was really it was a real heartbreaker. Day of Judgment, the Wrath of God equivalent. If you have this in your starting hand, you can play with 2 of these and you're playing against some kind of creature-y rush deck. You can either slow play it and then do a Day of Judgment and then just unleash all your creatures, or I don't know, it's just nice to top deck that sometimes. Okay, I'm wishy-washy on this Rock's Faithmender, dude. It's 4 mana for a 1/5, and I feel like I need some kind of defense, or it's just nice even against some of the green decks. 1/5 is a nice blocker. It has lifelink, and every time that you would gain life, you double it. It's so gross sometimes when you're getting into high life and things get doubled. Celestial Mantle, don't get me going. Seraph of the Dawn is 4 mana for a 2/4 with flying and lifelink. It's almost just like some kind of like defensive creature that I need in with all the creature decks. I don't know. I just feel like I've gotten overrun before, and literally overrun before. Well of Lost Dreams. This gives you a little bit of a card draw engine. It's 4 mana for an artifact. Whenever you gain life, you can pay X, where that's the amount of life that you gained. If you do, you draw that many cards. Ugh, so gross. I mean, it's cool late game, but even like mid, you can just be paying 1 when you draw 1 to gain life. Or draw cards, you know what I mean. Loxodon Warhammer is a 3 mana artifact, costs 3 to equip, so that's kind of high. But it gives the creature +3/+0, trample, and lifelink. They don't really say lifelink, they say whenever this creature deals damage, gain that much life. I don't know why. Maybe that's just some old card art. Here we go, Celestial Mantle. 6 mana, enchant creature, it gets +3/+3. Whenever it hits an opponent, you double your life total. It's so crazy. I mean, if you're getting rushed by a goblin deck, and you do that, you're not gonna gain that much life, but sometimes it's just catastrophic, the amount of life that you can get to. Triple digits, I think. I don't even know. Felidar Sovereign, pretty crazy. 6 mana for 4/6. Vigilance, lifelink. So it doesn't attack when it taps. You're going to be gaining life from it. And at the beginning of your upkeep, if you hit 40, you win the game. There's a couple of cards like that where it doesn't even matter what's going on. If this objective happens, the game is over. I'm not playing with this Cathedral Sanctifier. It's 1 mana for a 1/1, and when it enters the battlefield, you gain 3 life. If you have that god draw of the Sarah Ascendants and enough life gain to like pull off some early kill, I don't know, you can play that like Rush style. Elixir of Immortality, 1 mana for an artifact, pay 2 and tap it, you gain 5, and then it goes back in your library. I don't really care for it. I don't think that's ideal. Like, I don't know, there's so much life gain in this deck, I don't know if I need that, but maybe it's some super card that I'm overlooking. Ajani Sunstriker, 2 mana for a 2/2 with lifelink. It seems solid. If you're trying to play this as like a white rush deck, feel free to throw it in and test it out. But there's so many 2/2s in this deck that are powerful. You got the one that gets +1/+1s, and you have the one that has first strike and lifelink. And the one that has first strike and lifelink might even be, no, I don't know. Angel's Feather, 2 mana for an artifact. Whenever you cast a white spell, gain a life. Didn't really seem necessary to me, but if you do have this with that card draw thing, you can get this crazy engine going, but I don't know, I'm not playing that angle of the deck. If they had multiple copies, it could be feasible. Divine Favor, some funky enchantment, 2 mana, gives a creature +1/+3, and when you cast it, gain 3 life. It can be nice if you're just trying to make some kind of like beefy wall and need to boost your life a little bit, but I don't know. If it was an artifact that you could equip and it didn't go away when it died, I would probably play with it. Lone Missionary, 2 mana for a 2/1, kind of solid, and when it comes into play, you gain 4 life. There's just so many 2/2s in this deck for 2 mana that I passed on that. But I don't know, you can take a different angle and go all swarmy if you want. Slith Ascendant, little odd, 3 mana flying. Whenever it hits your opponent, you put a +1/+1 counter on it. I don't know, maybe I should be playing with those instead of the birds that I'm playing with right now, but it's 3 mana for a 1/1. For turn 3, you're playing a 1/1. There's a lot of stuff that can deal with it. White Sun Zenith is kind of funky. If you've played the green deck with all the wolves, you know how powerful it is to put that many 2/2s into play. But if you cast this on turn 5, you're only putting 2 cats. I love that they're cats. If you cast it on turn 6, you're only putting 3. I mean, it's kind of weak. Core Cartographer, 4 mana for a 2/2. It's your land grab, dude. I'm not playing with them right now. You put the land into play tapped, and it's 4 mana for a 2/2, so really wishy-washy. If you're playing with a whole bunch of high casting cost cards and you have this more geared towards the late game or something like that, feel free to give it a go. Peace Strider, 4 mana for a 3/3 artifact. When it comes into play, you gain 3 life. Really weird. I don't know why it's an artifact or what the exact angle is, but not in my deck, and I don't know. You can try it, but 4 mana for a 3/3 isn't really that solid. 5 mana, Archon of Redemption. This one's kind of cool. Flying, whenever this or a creature with flying enters the battlefield under your control, you may gain life equal to that creature's power. Okay, I didn't even know it was creatures with flying. I don't know if I like that anymore. I guess if you're playing the super high power flying deck, then go for it. Some weird life gain. Landbind Ritual, 5 mana, you gain 2 life for each planes you control. I think the green deck has something akin to this too, and in either deck I'm not feeling it. I mean, in 1v1s, it's just not something that I would want in my starting hand or to really pull super late game. Beacon of Immortality, on the same page. It's so weird. Double target player's life total, and then you shuffle it back into your library. I mean, if you just want to make this troll deck to where you're like trying to get the highest life possible and see if your opponent will ever quit, try it, because with the Celestial Mantle and a couple other things, it can get insane, like just doubling so fast. Purity, I'm going to throw this in and play with it. 6 mana for a 6/6 flyer. If a spell would deal damage to you or ability, which is a big deal, instead of it dealing damage, I'm pretty sure it prevents it and you gain life. And then I think if it dies, it goes back into your library. Celestial Force, 8 mana for a 7/7. At the beginning of your upkeep, at the beginning of each upkeep, gain 3 life. So much mana. So much mana. 7 mana for that. I don't know. I feel like it's not really that crazy. I don't know why this is the last card. Golden Glow Moth, 1 mana for a 0/1. It's a flyer, and you can just bitch block with it, and then you gain 4 life. I don't like it. That's the end of this video. Thanks for watching, PhoneCats.